What's going on, beautiful people? And welcome back to another comic book review video. I'm your majestic sayer of words, SuperCliff, and if you guys are new to this channel, then do me a solid by smashing that like and subscribe button, and also hit that notification bell so that you'll never miss out on an upload, and so that you'll always be kept up to date with your favorite top tier comics happening in the comic book world. And today, folks, we are kicking off a new era for one of Marvel's most popular vibranium enthusiasts, Black Panther, issue number 1, written by the Academy Award-winning John Ridley with the art by Juann Cabal. Now check it. Secrets from T'Challa's past have come back to haunt him as Black Panther receives an unexpected and urgent message from a Wakandan secret agent. T'Challa must now race the clock, not only to save his agent, but to also keep his true agenda under wraps. Because if the truth were to ever come out, it would cost him everything, including Wakanda. Thus, without further ado, let's get this show on the road. Alrighty folks, so our story picks up with the Avengers, and they are currently going up against something of unknown origins. Honestly, they kind of look like the Mole Man's Moloids, you know, basic Marvel Universe canon fodder 101. But yeah, and so with that we see Doctor Strange using his powers, and through magical finesse, he's able to contain them inside of a circle. But these goblin little critters, they're currently in a frenzied state. They're getting more and more antsy with each passing second. And so because of this, it's getting more and more difficult for Strange to hold them all in place. And though we have Thor and Cap double teaming and pounding baddie after baddie, there's just too many of these guys to hit. They're basically about to be overrun at any moment. And so Black Panther kind of QBs the situation, telling everyone to look for a portal because whenever bad guys attack, typically there's a portal or a switch. I digress. But of course, everyone's asking him like, what the hell are you talking about? And so, you know, after feeling a bit foolish, T'Challa turns over to Doctor Strange and asks him if he can open up a portal, something big enough to put these guys through it in order to get them out of here. Thus, we see Doctor Strange open up a rift, big enough so that these little goblin monsters can go flying through. And boom, with Thor bringing down the lightning, we see him bang Cap's shield, and by hitting the shield, he uses it to blast all of the creatures as they go flying all over the place, through the air and into the rift. Thus, with Doctor Strange shutting the door, the battle has been won. Now once Thor and Strange dip out, this is where we see a conversation between Steve and T'Challa, where Steve is thanking him for the assist. But he mentions to T'Challa that he needs him to be focused with the Avengers. Like, bro, I understand you're king, and you just came back from intergalactic Wakandan space, but you're the leader of the Avengers, and though Wakanda needs you, so too does the world. But Black Panther lets him know that, you know, he will continue to serve his people and still be there for the Avengers. A little bit later, at the new Parliament building of Wakanda, we see all of the leaders who have been picked by the people are trying to debate new laws and new regulations. Now obviously T'Challa is present, but because of this government shift, he's mostly been observing. And sure, at the end of the day, T'Challa is still king, but his power has been given to the people. Therefore, he has to sit back while bored as hell and let democracy play out. And this scene plays out in a very cool way per se, because remember guys, back when Black Panther was king and held absolute power, if he ever wanted to do something, he could just get it done in the flash. He wouldn't need to explain his reasoning or justify it. T'Challa could just do what he wanted. And so Ridley, he sort of subtly hints the notion here in T'Challa that, you know, sure, obviously democracy is awesome, but sometimes, perhaps during like the heat of the moment, democracy can kind of get in the way. And so T'Challa, at the end of the day, dude loves Wakanda. And now he is worried that with new elections comes new leadership, and that those who are new are not going to hold on to the same agreements, the same treaties that Wakanda has been going on with other nations for hundreds of years ever since its existence. And so for T'Challa, democracy is like digging a ditch. The motion sucks, but the end result is the ideal. It just takes more than a minute to get there. Now this is the part of the story where we pick up in Chile, and we see two individuals who are meeting up. One of them named Jahai and the other Omala. And right now, these two are meeting up in secret, for these two are in love. Ooh. However, both were sent out by T'Challa to be secret agents, to be the Black Ops team in case they were ever needed, or in the case of security, if Wakanda was ever compromised. Essentially, folks, these guys are sleeper agents. But while these two are sitting down and having some lunch, this is when things go completely batshit crazy. Like Michael Bay steps in with explosions crazy, because the waiter that was bringing them food is immediately shot in the head, and his head explodes, blood squirting everywhere. And with that, individuals start going down as well. And so as these two agents start to run away from the restaurant, they quickly realize that, this isn't just a random mass shooting. Rather, this is a targeted attack, and the attack is coming directly for them. And so if things go sideways, they run down an alleyway, and with Jahai being injured and bleeding out, he recognizes that there is no way to escape from them, and that they have to turn and fight whoever their foe is. And with them activating their bracelets, we see the suits come on, and they are ready to throw down. They are ready to fight. And so with these assailants coming at them, at least a dozen or so, they are doing everything they can to fight them off, with Jahai taking a wound to the back. Now, here he recognizes that he's probably not going to make it out of this fight, so he grabs a grenade and unpins it, and he tells Omaya to go find T'Challa, and to tell him exactly what happened here today. And with that, we have a giant explosion from the alleyway. Later that evening, Omaya is able to get in contact with Black Panther, getting through to him by using an emergency line, and she lets him know that Jahai has died. Black Panther then tells her to send a location, and he will come immediately. And so later on, after these two meet up, Omaya takes T'Challa to where Jahai's body's being hidden, and T'Challa recognizes the body, and that it's his friend. But more than editing, it's confirmation that these two have been breaking the rules, because Black Panther put them in specific zones, for they are supposed to stay in their zone. And not only that for the most part, but they remain celibate, meaning, no sex, no falling in love, that sort of thing. And so because of this predicament, T'Challa feels like they've jeopardized everything that he's been building up to this point. But he also understands the concept of love, and that these two fell in love for one another. And so he gets it, but at the same time, you had a job to do, you fucked up. Now T'Challa tells her that he's going to go back to Wakanda and trying to figure this all out and make sure none of this kind of gets in the open before it does, because that will be really, really bad for him. But in the meantime, Omaya go to a safe house and just lay low. Now picking up with Sherry, T'Challa sits down with her and they have a private conversation, because up to this point, Sherry believes that Jai had died a while ago, but she is now learning that that wasn't the case. Rather, the individuals that may have gone missing or are dead are actually Wakanda's secret agents. For T'Challa's been running his own MI6 CIA program, because while he may have agreed to open up their borders to the entire world, he's never actually trusted the world. He's never trusted that they would actually accept Wakanda. Now, of course, Shuri is extremely against the idea of having secret agents out in the field, because for her, it just feels way too deceptive. But at the end of the day, folks, T'Challa's not going to pretend like the world outside of these borders aren't corrupt. And so even as he's claimed to integrate Wakanda with the world, he made plans to protect their home at all costs, instituting sleeper agents. Wakanda's best and the most disciplined warriors were embedded in countries around the world to live in, work, and exist in, basically to portray themselves as regular people. But if Wakanda were ever to be threatened, or if T'Challa's rule was ever, questioned or was in trouble, they were to engage in a guerrilla warfare campaign. Their job would have been to infiltrate, destroy, and assassinate anyone that is against the Wakandans. People like Claw or Killmonger, etc., etc. Now, Shuri has to ask the question why. Why did you keep this all a secret? Why didn't you tell me? I'm your little sister. You shouldn't have to take this burden up by yourself, T'Challa. And so even if Shuri greatly disagrees with every aspect of this, T'Challa has lied to everyone about it. But it's something that he's had to keep a secret program that even the Avengers have no idea about. Now, he doesn't necessarily think that the Avengers will go after him, but if the day ever comes that, they decide that they want to cross Wakanda, if they want to try and take something up or side with someone that is an enemy of Wakanda, he wanted to have these avenues so that he can, use them against any forces that try to take them down. But he does give her video recordings of everything that's transpired and trying to find out who or what was being tailed. Anything that can give them evidence to point on who is doing this, who is responsible for this attack. And obviously you want to give that information to Shuri because she's so freaking smart. And so with this, we pick up with Steve Rogers. And this is the most difficult conversation that Black Panther has to have today, because what he is telling Steve is that he is not going to be a big part of the Avengers anymore, and that he's going to be preoccupied. I'm sorry, dude, but my people, they come first. there are emergency protocols that I need to take care of here in Wakanda, and you and the Avengers are gonna have to understand this. And so he lets him know that, he is not taking the leave lightly, and that, they just need to simply trust him. Now, Steve tells him that you will always have our trust, bud. What he wants more than anything else is just a little bit more commitment to the team. And that's what takes us to Moscow, where Black Panther is meeting up with a sleeper agent who was having affairs with Jahai. But immediately he's surprised to find Omai, who, instead of going to the safe house, she instead trailed T'Challa to figure out what he was doing, because she wants to find the murderers of Jahai just as much as anyone else. And she lets him know that, you're going in here blind, bro, and you're going to need some help. Thus, the question arises, are you going to be prepared? Are you going to be ready for what's to come? And it's in this moment where we see a flash forward panels of T'Challa and the sleeper agent standing with the X-Men, and another panel of Black Panther going up against Captain America, and another panel where Black Panther and the sleeper agent are standing side by side against the Wakandan guard, the Dor Milaje. And this is where Black Panther responds, saying that he is more than ready and that he lives for this. And that, folks, was Black Panther issue number 1. And hot damn on a stick, we are off to a great start to a new era of Black Panther. Now, any comic book fan or creator can tell you that it is a challenge to follow up on a critically acclaimed run for a beloved character, and this is especially true for Black Panther, because picking up after Ta-Nehisi Coates, Ridley and Cabal find T'Challa bogged down with numerous commitments, such as being the current chairman of the Avengers and being a king of a nation that is testing out democracy. Black Panther is, by all accounts, one of the most unique heroes within the Marvel Universe. He has responsibilities that no other Avenger could ever comprehend, not even Thor, who is king, but, so is Joffrey Baratheon. Basically, just because you're a king, it doesn't mean that you know what it's like to be a king. Black Panther does. And so because of that, I enjoy the way that this comic is illustrating T'Challa's struggle of him having to juggle with both his time as an Avenger, being a main pillar of the Marvel Universe, whilst that of being a king. Now, despite the amount of dialogue, Ridley's script never comes across as overstuffed or laborious. All of the dialogue is consequential and generally compelling. There's no exposition, and every conversation comes off as both great dialogue writing and important information. When it comes to the art, Cabal's action scenes, which are few, are directed and drawn with cinematic energy, whilst Federici Blee's colors are the explosion of life that grab your attention to this comic's interior. His bright and hyper-energetic palette is what makes this issue a high-fidelity Marvel comic experience. Overall, this is an exciting first step for the next chapter of T'Challa's story. John Ridley does a fine job with setting up a new adventure for T'Challa, and if Ridley handles this right going forward, this book could be a fun, globe-trotting Black Panther series. And FYI, let me just state this for the record, because it's clear through both the dialogue and the art that Wakanda's foray into democracy isn't going to likely end so smoothly. So, womp womp. Black Panther issue number 1 gets an 8.5 out of 10. And guys, if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button in order to show your support to the channel. And tell me, what are your thoughts and opinions on this issue? Are you guys excited for issue number 2? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And until the next video, peace. Wakanda forever.